Hello, everyone. It is International Passport. I'm here again for another classic video. I want to say a huge shout out to my old subscribers for supporting this channel over the past 5 years. Thank you very much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. I want to say a huge shout out to my new subscribers and welcome aboard the International Passport movement, where I encourage brothers to get out there, travel, meet foreign women, create great experiences for yourself abroad, invest in stocks, crypto, acquire wealth, riches, and live a peaceful, good, enjoyable life and fruitful life. So, in this video, I am interviewing a very intelligent brother who has been in Colombia, who has been living in Colombia for many, many years now. I will be asking the brother the hard-hitting questions, women, culture, jobs, living there, food, and we'll touch upon the brother's book as well near the end of the stream, where the brother has written about all his experiences in Colombia, and we'll speak about the book as well. So, without any further ado, Mr. Mustang, can you please introduce yourself to the people who are going to watch this interview? And after that, bro, I'll start initiating the questions. The floor is yours, brother.
Okay, thank you. What's up, International Passport? Should I call you IP or
Or whichever one's suitable for you, bro. I don't mind.
which is
IP International
okay?
Passport.
Okay, so my name is Stephen Bolivar, and I am I've been living in Colombia, Medellin, Colombia, for nearly a decade now. So this is the place that I call home. I have a lot of perspective on Colombia. I've I have perspective on other countries around the world as well. I've visited different cities and countries around the world, and I've lived in different cities and countries around the world. So my perspective goes beyond just Colombia and the states where I'm from, um, and so I'm hopefully I can give some new perspective, a different perspective on Colombia, uh, business, entrepreneurship, life, um, all the things that I tend to deal with.
Thank you very much. Great introduction there, Mustang. So, my first question to you, brother, please tell us more about yourself, where you're from in America in terms of state and county in America, and why you decided to move to Colombia, brother.
Well, I'm from Miami, and I actually Colombia. I actually ended up moving to Colombia. I call it sort of like a random luck, and what it was is I I originally started in the vacation rental business here, and I actually talk about that in the book. I tell the story of how I first came to Medellin and got started in the vacation rental business, um, and different trials and tribulations that I had to encounter along my journey as an entrepreneur. And basically, um, I came to Medellin many years ago. It was just a random trip. I said I liked it. I wanted to come back, but I say that a lot of places I go and I never actually make it back. But I ended up coming back to Colombia, and I when I came back the second time, I was like, wow, I kind of forgot about this place and how much I liked it, and I wanted to spend some more time. So I just started, flying back every month and spending like a week or so at a time. And it got to the point where I was coming back so frequently that I decided, well, I'm spending all this money in apartments and hotels and things like that. So I said, I'm gonna just look for my own apartment. And my initial thought was, okay, I'm gonna just get me an apartment, and when I'm not here, I'll rent it out. And if I have a free place to stay whenever I want to come to Medellin, then great. So that was my initial plan, and it just so happens that the vacation rental business turned out to be a really good business. And whenever I was looking to come back, my apartment would be booked. So ultimately, I decided to focus on that business and leave the business that I had in the states and relocate to Medellin full time. And I've been
Oh,
here ever since.
Fantastic, brother. So you're in Medellin. You're living in Medellin, Colombia. You're saying, bro?
Yes, yes. I don't know if you can see in the background behind me.
Yeah, looks very
This
beautiful.
is this is Medellin.
Fantastic, brother. So, bro, what was the motivation for you to actually book that first trip to Colombia? Was it the horrible woman you were dealing with in the West, or was it a break where, I'm working too hard in Miami, I need a break, I'll book a trip to Medellin, Colombia, see how it is, and then you got enticed by it? Was it women? Was that your driving factor? Or was it something else, brother, that made you book that first trip?
It was really just business the first time I came, and how I ended up coming back was a friend of mine was getting married, and he was so we were going to do like a bachelor weekend, and that's how I actually ended up coming back to Medellin. And then I remembered, oh, I really liked the city. I really liked, the culture and everything, and I wanted to spend some more time. So that was really my motivation. And one of the things I say is, um, I've always, wherever I've traveled, um, I've always sort of had a purpose for traveling, but the primary purpose was never women. I always say women complement my purpose, but they've never been the sole driving force.
Very good answer. Thank you, bro, for clarifying that. So what kind of business were you doing in America, brother? And was that successful? Was it moderate? And did you wake up one day and say I can do a lot more better, and then explored Medellin, Colombia? Tell us about your business in Miami, bro.
Well, basically, I was working with migrant families. They were mostly Hispanic, Mexican, and I had my own nonprofit business on that side, and I was also working with the county. So we were basically just working government contracts, and it was good. But at the time, I had been working in that for roughly 10 years, and just a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff that goes into that business. And when I saw the opportunity in Medellin at the time, where the vacation rentals, I saw the potential there, and it 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 was a good business. So it wasn't hard for me to make the switch when I compared. I could live. I like the lifestyle better in Colombia and Medellin than I did in the States. So all of that helped play into the to my decision.
Fantastic, brother. So now that you're in Medellin, um, what kind of business do you do there, brother? And has that been successful for you over the past few years? You said you've been in Medellin for 8 years, brother. So let us know how many years you've been living in Medellin and how you're supporting yourself financially, brother.
Right. So yeah, I've been here. It'll be 8 years now, and I've started in the vacation rentals in 2015, and it was a really good business. And I tell the story in the book, about how that played out, and ultimately the business crashed in on me and fell on me, and I ultimately lost everything. I had to start over from scratch, and through that process, of doing different business ventures. I'm an I call it I say I'm an entrepreneurial purist. So it's like it's in my blood, it's in my DNA. It's just I'm just an entrepreneur at heart. So I never stopped working different businesses and different ventures, and eventually I came across. I ended up in the liquor business doing rum, and I created my own rum brand with Ron Bolivar, and I'll actually show you the bottle
Nice.
if you can see that. This is
Oh,
um, this is 100% handmade artisanal Colombian rum. So if anyone ever in Colombia or thinking of coming to Colombia and wants to try a really quality handmade rum, definitely look me up. Um, RonBolivar.com is the website, and IG and Facebook at Ron Bolivar Colombia. So this is my business now, and I'm working on building this into what I expect to see grow into ultimately a global brand.
Fantastic, brother. I love hearing brothers making those high value business moves. Um, is that liquor brand, is that installed in Colombia or do you sell that directly from your website?
I'm selling it right now. I basically handle all the distribution. It's right now I'm in the process of building the distillery, so I'm not at full capacity. I can't really produce at a mass scale yet. So it's basically, just small batch at the moment. And once I get the distillery built and I'm at full production capacity, then I'll be distributing to, I'm not sure if I'm going to go stores yet. I have to figure out exactly how I want to model it, but likely be in bars, clubs, restaurants, and you'll be able to find me. And I also plan on exporting as well. So the states, other countries, sky's the limit.
Fantastic, brother. I wanted to speak about a bit your business a bit more further. Like, what was your startup cost? I mean, like, um, did you make your money in America and use American dollars to fund your businesses here? Did you already have connections in Colombia to actually start making business moves, like reaching out to people? They can advise you on certain matters and put you in touch with other people. How was this? So funding, connections, how did that all time play to you setting up your business in Colombia? If you can speak on that, brother.
Well, when I first started with the vacation rentals, I had my career in business in the States, so I was getting salary from that, so I was able to, and because of the nature of the work, I had a lot of flexibility and freedom to travel around and work my own hours basically. So I was able to invest in and work on other ventures while I was still doing business in the States. So so I had money from my business in the States that I was able to use to invest in the apartments and the vacation rentals. And that's basically welcome to Medellin with with the traffic. Um, so that's basically how I came with the money for the to get involved with the apartments. And then ultimately, like I say, I tell the story in the book of how that ultimately crashed in on me, and that caused me to lose everything basically, and I had to start over from scratch. And with the rum, it's just been I've just been building from the ground up. I started. People say, and one of the things I talk about in the book as well is a lot of people think you need money to start a business, and you really don't. You just need to start. One of the things I say is money is a resource, not an excuse.
Mm,
You hear so many people, you know, give any other reason why they can't do something, or oh, how many times have you heard people say, oh, if only I had the money, I'd do this, or if only I had the money, I'd do that. And it's really just an excuse. If you have the willpower, if you don't have money, money is great. If you have it, that's great. But if you don't, you just have to learn how to be more resourceful.
yes, great answer there, bro. I want to touch upon your rental business. I think property is a very important commodity in every country. You need somewhere to live and to stay for your holidays. How did you get into the rental business in Colombia? Sorry, the property business in Colombia. And what was your funding like? What was the certain amount of funding that you used to get into Colombia? And was it easy getting into that business in Colombia? Did you experience any roadblocks, in terms of different things? I'm not sure how it works in South America. Could you break it down for us, brother, from the moment where how much money you had to fund yourself in Colombia, how you got into business in Colombia, and so on, brother?
Yeah, well, with vacation rentals or properties, anything like that, you there are really two ways you can go about it. You can buy the property, or you can rent the property and then essentially sublet it. And one of the things that, first of all, let me just say that I wouldn't recommend anybody to get involved in this business now in Medellin, because if you read the book, you'll understand exactly why. It's why I'm not in the business now. anymore, because the, the business is completely, it, I would say it's completely changed from back in the day when I started, and it's just a totally different animal now. So the business model that I and many other people had here back then, it just doesn't work today. But essentially, I preferred to rent my properties long term and then sublet them, because it was easier to get in and out. If you ever had a problem and you needed to leave, you could easily just pick up your stuff and leave and move to another property. If you buy a property, you're stuck with it, and you whatever all the money that you've invested in that property, you can't get it out until you sell it. So that was one of the key things how I went about business when I was in that business here in Medellin.
Thanks for that, brother. I think we've got a good gist of how you're supporting yourself in Colombia. You have a business, sell rum. Do you do any other ventures as well, brother? Do you work a full-time job, or are you strictly an entrepreneur? If not, what other businesses do you do on the side apart from your liquor business, your rum business? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm a full-time professional entrepreneur. So I live and die based on my own abilities. Now, I don't have I have no job that pays me anything. It's just whatever I can generate on my own is how I survive, and and it's just something that you kind of learn as you go. I always say you learn by doing, and um, that's the best way to really to really learn anything, I think.
Okay. And do
And
you
what
have
was the
any
other
other?
question?
Yeah. Do you have any other business ventures you're doing apart from the rum
Right.
business that's supporting yourself in Colombia?
Yeah, the rum is my main focus right now, and there'll likely be some other things that branch out from the rum. Um, I always have, you know, ventures, in various, various stages. It might just be like a concept or an idea, or I may have something a little more firm, and I just kind of, it might, sometimes timing, it just kind of depends. I say, I try to explain it in the book how I operate in my mentality, how my mentality is, and how I go about things with regards to business and entrepreneurship. Um, and so I try to break it down a little in there, but it's basically, how can I say, it's, yeah, the way I describe it is is like with using films, movies from with the film industry. If you notice about, if you know anything about how the film industry works, you have like pre-production, post-production, the actual production, and that's kind of how I go about things with my business ventures. So I may have something that's just an idea, and maybe I, kind of format it into what would be like a script, and I may hold that script until it's time for me, until I think the market is right, or the time is right for me to green light it, and then pull it to production and start working on it. And so it's possible that I could have, multiple things in production at once, or something on the side waiting while something else is in production. But at the current moment, I'm mostly focused on the rum, and just little side projects that are going to spur up from the actual rum business itself.
Okay. Hey, thanks for that, brother. For breaking down how you're supporting yourself financially. Now I want to move on to the woman part of things. I think that's very important. When you move to a new country, you want to make sure the women there are cooperative. There's a lot of problems here in the West. You probably saw yourself in Miami, in America. Women in the West are just not compatible anymore, just not feasible for intelligent brothers who want a woman by their side who cooperates, who listens, and is on your program. Brother, can you describe to us Colombian women? What's your experience with them? How's it like how's it like dating them compared to American women? And do you recommend Colombian women as well, brother?
Okay, well, let me start by um, I'll, I'll start first uh, with women in general. First of all, what I think is I know a lot of people um, feel that certain women, some people have, like certain women from different areas like Asia or Latin America or Africa, and they say, oh, they like it better than in the States. And I'm not disagreeing with what anyone may say, um, but I like to give perspective. So for example, one of the things when you think about women in other countries is culture. And for example, just the way you greet people. Like in Latin America and most other places that I've been around the world, typically you greet women with a kiss. Whereas, for example, in the States, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the States, you know, a lot of places the custom is to, women will greet you with a handshake. And, I tell the story about I had a business meeting and a woman, comes up to me to shake my hand, and I'm looking at her sideways, like, are you really going to shake my hand right now? Because I'm so accustomed to the kiss greeting, even in a business setting, it comes off as a little strange to me. So, you know, examples like that, and another example I like to give is dress, feminine dress. For example, when I lived in Russia, all the women in Russia wear heels everywhere. And like real stiletto heels, not these little tiny heels. And that was actually one of the things I liked about Russia is you know one of the things I like to say is real women wear heels.
Hmm.
Um, even here I've been on dates where a girl doesn't know how to walk in heels, and she's got to like hold on to your arms so she doesn't fall. So where but in comparison, for example, in the States, I know a lot of women, they walk around in flip-flops, and they wear flip-flops in the White House. So that I can see how you know guys will say, oh well, you know you girls, they don't even dress feminine, whereas in other countries like Russia, they wear heels and this, that, and the other. And you know they're they're not wrong, but I try to get perspective, and I think a lot of it comes down to preference, and what people like, because there are going to be guys that are going to like the girls in flip-flops and that are shaking your hands, and others are going to like girls that wear heels and
Mm.
greet you with a kiss. And so there's some subjectivity there, is what
So,
I like to say.
what is your what's your perspective of Colombian women based on during your 8 years in Medellin, Colombia? How have they treated you as a brother? And what's the good features about them and the bad features about Colombian women? Let's start with that, bro.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to educate people here a little bit, because um, when it comes to dating and women in Colombia, there are two things guys need to understand. One of them is culture, and so I'll start with culture. Um, I've heard a couple people, talk about this topic or touch on it a little, but I never really hear anyone really go into depth and explain it well. Um, and this is something else that I talk about in the book, and I really, really break it down and try to explain it to people so it makes sense. But as a man, when you're with dealing with dating and women in Colombia, what you need to understand is first with the culture, because a lot of guys, they come here and they talk about the culture, and particularly, and I almost laugh sometimes when I hear people talk about female culture here when they've been here maybe a few weeks, if that, and you can't really get a real perspective on culture and how things really are and really work. work here in a couple of days or a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. It takes time. So, and that's another reason why I put a lot of this stuff in the book to give people perspective. With when it comes to culture, what guys need to understand about with women here is the current female culture here today actually stems from the narco times back in the 70s and 80s. That was when girls used to aspire to land their narco because those were the guys with all the money and the status, and they were like the top dogs. So basically, a lot's changed since the times of the narcos, obviously, but that mentality is still ingrained in the culture here. So we're talking about culture. It's not something that's going to change overnight. So that's one side. Um, that's one side, and I'm going to lay that there, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. The other thing is nature. So culture, can change from place to place, region to region, country to country. But nature, uh, you you can't overstep nature. And the other example I like to give is with men. Like you and I were both men, and we know as men what our nature is. It doesn't matter if we were born and raised in China, in South Africa, uh, the States, UK, Colombia, Brazil. As a man, we know as men what our nature is. And it's really not all that different for women. So so guys need to understand that when you deal with women and dating in Colombia, you have to understand the dynamic of culture and nature. Now let me go back to culture. I'm gonna give you some more perspective. Um, let's say when we think about culture, I'm going to use the States for an example. In the States, I like to call it this Kardashian culture um, that started in the States, and it's like grown and festered, and it's spreading all across Western society. It's not just in the States anymore. It's all over. Wherever there's social media, you're going to find this, and it's here in Colombia, and it's especially prevalent here in Medellin. So girls nowadays, this is the model that they look up to. They all want to be like the Kardashians. So they all want uh, you know they all want the latest iPhone, designer clothes, designer handbags. They want to travel, live that vacation lifestyle. Now in Colombia, the average minimum salary here is like $260, more or less. We'll round it up to 300 just for good measure. And even better yet, let's say a guy comes to Colombia, he meets a girl, she has a job, and she's making $500 a month, right? Which is not a bad salary for Colombia, $500 a month. Now, how are you going to afford all that stuff if you're a woman making $500 a month in Colombia? The latest iPhone alone, I'm sure, is over $1,000. I, I I don't know exactly because I don't buy iPhones, but um, I assume it got to be $1,000 for the latest iPhone by itself. So how do you do that on a $500 a month salary? How do you afford those things? The simple answer is you can't. It doesn't compute. It's just basic economics. Now let me take it a step further. You can talk to women here. You can talk to women here, and a lot of them will tell you, they're not ashamed of it all. A lot of them will tell you straight up that they actually prefer to date gringos or foreigners over Colombian guys. Now, there are a couple of reasons for this, and I talk about it in the book, but one of the biggest reasons is by and large, the average foreigner or gringo is going to have more disposable income than the average Colombian guy. And that's just basic economics. You look at the salaries, minimum salary, $260, $300 versus however much salaries are in the States and other parts of the world. So the mentality becomes for a lot of these girls is to find a gringo or foreigner who's willing to provide. Not all of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. So guys need to understand those dynamics from the jump when they come here looking to get involved and date with Colombian Colombian women.
Okay.
Now, now on the other end, remember what I said about um, they all want to be like the Kardashians. The Kardashians are many girls' role model today. And you look at the Kardashians. Who do the Kardashians date?
Brothers mostly, right?
Right, right. So there you have another dynamic.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, bro. So right now, do you have a girlfriend or a wife in Colombia? Someone you're seeing?
No, no, I actually prefer to be single. I find it works better for me. I've uh, dated many girls, had girlfriends, and I actually prefer single life here better than. That's not to say I might not get into another relationship in the future, but for now I'm content being single.
And why is that, brother? A lot of beautiful women out there in Colombia. We know for that for a fact. And you're a high value man in Colombia. So why do you prefer being single? Is it something is it a bad thing you've seen in Colombia where if you're in a relationship, it's not really good for brothers? Why is it, or is it a personal preference, brother?
No, I think it's more personal. Is I can see who I want, date who I want, go out or do whatever I want, and I don't have to share my time with anyone or explain to anyone. So I just prefer it that way.
Okay, thanks for that, brother.
Just the
So,
freedom. It's freedom to do what I want with who I want.
and brother, based on the dates you've had, have they been mostly black women? Have they been, mixed race brown women, or have they been white Colombian women, brother? And which ones do you prefer? Which ones are giving you more play? And what do you prefer? What your preference, brother?
Um, I really don't have a preference, to be honest. As far as skin tone and stuff like that. I, I'm more my my preferences are more standard based. Like now I'm 40 years old now. I'm done dating broke and entitled women. I just if I'm gonna date somebody, she's first of all got to have a job, career, something going for her. You know, and and this is another thing that and I think I've heard you talk about this on your channel before. Advising guys to look for quality women. Don't just if you're coming here, um, don't just go for the bottom of the barrel or uh, have some standards. As a man, you should have standards, just like women have standards.
Yeah, good point there, brother. And what kind of women do you attract? Who gives you more play? Is it black, white, mixed race women? Where do you have more success with, bro?
Honestly, I don't have a lot of interaction with um, Black Afro women here so much. They are around, but I don't see them so much, especially in my area where I normally am. So um, it's more of a rarity. But as far as attention goes, one of the things speaking of attention that I should say as well is that um, you know guys also need to understand when they come down here, and you'll get attention from women, um, but one thing to keep in mind is that, if you look like me, if you look like us, you're not going to be exotic here. So, if you're getting attention, it's not because you're exotic. Uh, what's exotic here is blonde hair, blue eyes. If you want to be exotic, you look like me, you need to go to like Scandinavia, East Europe, Asia. In those areas, you'll be exotic and you'll get that attention just from your looks. Um, but that doesn't happen here, not in Brazil, not in DR, none of those places like that. But what you are here is, as a gringo or a foreigner, you're automatically of elevated status. So you'll get attention from women just for that.
Mm. Okay, brother, great point. I want to keep on the woman aspect here for a couple more minutes here because personally, I'm not moving to another country if the women are terrible because in the UK, they're not too good, in my opinion. Same thing in America. But when they make a move permanently, the woman must be on point because we are men, brother. We are men, aren't we? It's in our biological nature to seek out a feminine woman. So I need to know the hardcore intel there regarding women. So, brother, would you say that Colombian women are feminine, you know, and submissive in your
Yeah,
experience?
yeah. I mean, of course, and there are plenty of good Colombian women, and when I talk about these dynamics, I put them out there so people can understand them and be aware of them, because you get a lot of guys. Uh, let's just be honest. You get a lot of guys who come here for one specific reason, which is to live the fantasy. And since I've been in the vacation rental business back in 2015, guys have been coming here, and I have the stats from my business since 2015, and I can tell you that 90% of the guys, they came here for the fantasy. And when I talk about fantasy, I mean girls, drugs, parties, the fantasy lifestyle. So the the people that are coming here looking to not that aren't coming for the fantasy, but are coming to maybe invest or do other things, um, it's a much smaller minority. So if you're coming to live the fantasy, you're going to, and especially if you're going to be here for, typically my clients would come in for the weekend, or even if you're going to be here for a few days or a couple of weeks, you're going to typically run into a certain type of female, especially if you don't know the culture, don't know the language, etc.
Hmm.
Whereas if you actually coming here, on your purpose, you're going, you're setting up, establishing, or moving, however you're going to move, and you're going to be here for a prolonged period of time, then you have time to actually, go out, go into the community, perhaps even become part of the community, and form, those type of relationships with quality women that, are going to be good women, and not just, looking for opportunity or a sponsor.
Good point there. And on that note, brother, you've been there for 8 years. How have you able to find quality woman, and how have you been able to distinguish between a quality woman or a pro or a low value woman? How are you meeting quality women, especially as a brother with a business like you? Like I said, you want to make sure you have a high quality woman. She's not elite. She's not broke. She's actually has her own money, but still feminine. What have you been doing, brother, in Colombia to actually seek out women like that, brother? Is it through connections? Is it through friends? Do you go to high value parties? Speak on that experience, brother.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to parties and things. Uh, uh, really, I mean, you can meet women anywhere. I don't know if you've ever been to South Florida. That's the only place, like, since I lived in South Florida, I could use that as a comparison. But I mean, in South Florida, there are women everywhere. They're all over the place, and it's the same here. There are women everywhere, and they're beautiful. So, you can meet women literally anywhere and everywhere. I've met them in bars and clubs. I've met them in supermarkets. Um, I can tell you where I typically don't meet them is on dating apps and on the streets in Yeres.
On the streets in Yeres. You said
Right. The-
what's Yeres?
Well, Park Lleras is like this main tourist area here where um, most of the people who come here, particularly coming for the fantasy, or even not coming for the fantasy, but just coming to visit Medellin, that's typically the area where they'd like to stay and visit. And it's like a park area, lots of bars and clubs and restaurants, and you could just at even during the day, and particularly at night, you can just walk around and find pretty much whatever you're looking for. And there are always a lot of women, a lot of pros and semi-pros around there that are, on the streets in the bars. And what happens is you'll get a lot of guys who come here that are, looking for girls. Maybe they're looking for the fantasy, maybe they're not. And they'll typically, you know, they'll get on these apps, they'll talk to these girls on the street, and those are the. I'll tell you one thing. When I was in the rental business, when guys would come to town, I actually had a list of like rules and regulations that I would go over with them, and not just me, but all of us, all of my associates, everyone in the business, we all basically said the same thing. And one of the things that I would always tell the clients was, uh, stay away from these girls on the street, especially in Yeras, in Park Yeras, because those are the girls that are most likely to cause problems and potentially maybe even drug and or rob you. So, you hear stories on social media and on these channels where people talk about this drug escopolomina and guys getting drugged by girls and robbed by girls and things like that. And usually, for the most part, you know, these girls, the type of girl that's going to drug you and rob you, we're talking about hood chicks.
Mm.
Uh, these girls that, yeah, the hood chicks that, and these guys, they meet them on the apps, or they talk to these girls on the street, and they're from the hood and looking for opportunity. And if you don't know the culture, you don't speak the language, you're an easy mark. So you know those are the girls that, like I said, I stay away from those girls. I'm never worried about a girl drugging me or robbing me because I don't mess with those type of girls.
Mm. All right, thanks for that, brother. So we'll come back to more women topics later on in the stream, but I want to move on to lifestyle, right? Um, Tell us the type of lifestyle you're living in Colombia, because it's very important to live a very good lifestyle in a different country, right? There's no point in going to a different country if you're living the same lifestyle like you are in America, and that might be in terrible conditions, right? You want to level up in all areas of your life, bro. So, brother, can you compare the lifestyle in Miami to Colombia? And would you say realistically that you're living a better life in Colombia? And tell us why, brother.
Well, again, I think this is uh, likely something that's subjective as well, because one person type of lifestyle that makes them happy may be very different from someone else's type of lifestyle that makes them happy. So I can speak for me
Hmm.
being here, that that's part of the reason why I'm here, is that I do like the lifestyle here. um, it I like it better for me than the lifestyle I was living in the States at the time. So yeah, it's for me, I would say it was better, and that's why I'm here. If I didn't like it, if I wasn't happy and wasn't enjoying the lifestyle, then I wouldn't be here. I would definitely be someplace else.
So tell us specifically what makes the lifestyle in Medellin, Colombia better than in Miami. Break it down for us, brother. Is it better food, better women, better living, cheaper costs? Break it down for us, brother. It'd be very important for viewers to see what exactly makes it better than in America.
Well, again, better is perspectives and subject. I don't want to say it's necessarily better. It's just better better preference for me. It might not be for somebody else. But
Hmm.
one of the things, one of the things here is that life is one of the ways life is different here than in the States is that things are much more relaxed, and it's more, I guess, more of a laid back type lifestyle. Nothing here happens quickly. If you want to get, and that's actually, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, because sometimes that's very frustrating when you need to get things done, and you push and things just don't move. That's just the way things are here. And but the cost of living is obviously a lot cheaper than in the States. Um, Housing is cheaper, food is cheaper, medicine is cheaper. That's another great thing about living in Colombia. In the States, I'm not sure how it is in the UK, but in the States, you need a prescription for you know basically anything, of substance, and that you need a doctor to write a prescription. So if you need something, you go to a doctor, he's going to charge you $100 at least, and then whatever, another 200-300 for whatever prescription he gives you. So you spend hundreds of dollars for prescription medicines in the States, whereas here, um, for most things, you don't need a prescription. You just go to the pharmacy, everything's over the counter. You pay a fraction of the price that you would pay in the States or other countries. And so that's just one example of something that's positive.
Fantastic, brother. That's what I love hearing. So let's speak about the food in Colombia. Food is very important. How's the food like in Colombia? Would you say it's good? Would you say it's something that is tasty compared to America? In your opinion, obviously, speak on your in your perspective, not as a objective. It's all subjective. Food is very important. So how's the food there like in Colombia, brother?
Well, if you're talking about the typical Colombian food, um, I think for most people would find that there's better food in other parts of the world, or people would rank other countries above the traditional Colombian food. But they're really great restaurants here, in other cities as well. Not only just here in Medellin, but in Bogota, you find a lot of great restaurants. Cartagena también, Cartagena also. So there's great food options, great restaurants. It's not that expensive, and um, but but are you gonna? But I wouldn't say you people come here for the Colombian food because it's so great, like they might in Italy, for example. That's not the case,
Mhm.
but yeah, you could definitely find good food here.
Fantastic, brother. And can we speak about the language? Go on, bro. You want to say everyone else something more?
Uh, yeah, I was gonna say, it almost slipped my mind. Something about, I'll think of it. If I think of it, I'll let you know. It'll come back to me.
Okay. So obviously in Colombia they speak Spanish. Um, how important is it for someone to learn Spanish when making the move permanently? I know they do speak some English there, but brother, do you speak Spanish yourself? And do you recommend brothers to also learn Spanish before making that full-time permanent move to Colombia, and why?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. First, yes, I do speak Spanish. And I do remember what I was going to say as well. The other thing I was going to say about lifestyle here is Colombia is, despite it's not the level of the States and UK, it is a very modern country. And this, here in Medellin, it's a very modern city. That's one of the things I like about it. So coming from Miami, it's very easy to adjust. It's not like going to a country like Nicaragua or something where things are just way below level. You can pretty much anything that you can find in the States, you can find here. So that's one of the positives of living here in a country like this that has major cities with a lot of infrastructure.
Okay, all right, thanks for that, brother. Now, could you please answer the Spanish-speaking question as well?
Right, right. With the Spanish, yeah, I speak Spanish obviously, very well. I spoke it before I actually came here, so and I've been here 8 years. So I've had 8 years of practice in addition to what I already knew. I actually lived in Spain um, for I was studying in the university there in Valencia. So that was back in college. So from then on, I was had the Spanish language, and as far as and as far as learning the language, it's definitely very important. I recommend to anyone to learn the language, or at least start learning the language. If you know you're going to go someplace, like if you know you're going to come to Colombia, start brushing up on your Spanish. Start trying to learn the language, so that you're not starting from scratch when you come here, because it's important to know the language. Not You're not going to find, I would say, there are not a lot of people that speak English here. You might find some, but it's not that common like in other countries. For example, when I was in Barcelona, like everybody spoke English there, everybody. But that's not the case here. It's like the exact opposite almost. So you really need some level of Spanish to be able to move around, and even with girls, um, you know, one of the things, if you want to meet women and build relationships with women, you have to be able to talk to women. So how
Mm.
are you going to build a relationship if you can't talk to her? I mean, you can pull out Google Translate, but I say, you're trying to talk to a girl. Wait a minute, let me pull out my Google Translator. Like that's real seductive. So it pays to learn the language, to be able to talk to people, be able to talk to women, and I'll even give a tip, because for every place I've ever lived, I've spoken the language. When I was living in Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, I spoke Czech. When I was living in Russia, I spoke Russian. And when I'm here in Colombia, I speak Spanish. But for guys that don't speak the language, and, and are looking to meet girls and practice, one of the things you can do, and this is what I'll give you an example of what I did in Russia. When I was in Russia, when I first got there, my Russian you know, wasn't wasn't great. I needed to work on it. I needed to study and practice and get it to a decent level. So, you know, one of the things I did, I was studying at the university, but a lot of times before and after class, or if I didn't go to class, I would there was a bar cafe, and I would go hang out there, and there were cute waitresses that were working there, and I would practice my Russian with them. And you it's a way that you can practice and learn the language, and I actually ended up dating one of those girls. So you know you can do that wherever you go. You can, if you have a basic working knowledge of the language, or just a basic level, you can there are plenty of cafes and bars, restaurants here with cute waitresses. You could go in and just start talking to women and practice and learn.
Fantastic answer to that question, brother. Very good. Um, I want to speak about things that you don't like about Colombia, brother, before we start speaking about the positives. In your 8 years there in Colombia, bro, in Medellin, what are the things that you've noticed that you don't like, that you feel like brothers should know if they're considering moving there to Colombia? Whether it's, dealing with shady people in businesses, whether it's lack of safety. Speak on what you don't like about Colombia, brother.
Um, I think I think one of the most frustrating things is dealing with the difference in just dealing with the different mentality that you encounter here, as opposed to in the States, or perhaps other countries, or other more progressive or modern countries. And I try to I'm trying to think of a good example to give you to bring some perspective to that. But it's it's almost like, I tell you, there's for example, one of the mentalities that you encounter here with the people is, it's almost as if people don't want to don't want to move forward, don't want to to make to do better for themselves, to make more money, take advantage of business opportunities, uh, and it's, I'm trying to think of a good one that came up recently that would help you guys understand. Um, I'll give you an example. I'll give you, for example, if you come here and want to rent an apartment, for example, if you don't know anything about Medellin or Colombia and you're looking for an apartment, and you want to get an apartment, like, for you to stay long term, you're likely going to try and find an agent or look for some sort of agent to help you find an apartment, or somebody that has those connections. And most of those are, agencies. A lot of property owners will list their properties with an agency. So let's say a foreigner goes to the agency and wants to, he has money in his hand and wants to rent, you know, an apartment that they have. The agency would rather, as opposed to, let's say that this person has the money but can't produce all the paperwork, exactly how the agency would ideally want it in order for them to rent the apartment to this person, rather than the agency saying, all right, you know extenuating circumstances, we'll work something out, and do business with you. They would rather lose your business than to do a little extra or do something to make the money, if that makes sense.
I see. Okay, brother. And is there anything else that you don't like about Colombia?
uh well, I mean, it's just like anywhere. You live someplace long enough, and you see things differently and things start to frustrate you, but I think that's normal for anywhere. um the Mostly it's mentality type things. You just deal with things not moving as quickly as they should, or how you think they should. It's like people, it's almost like a mentality, we'll get around to it whenever we get around to it, kind of thing.
Okay, fantastic, brother. And so, what are the most things that you love about living in Colombia? What has really made the 8 years worth it? What do you love so much about Colombia, brother?
uh you know i I do like I like the people, I like the culture, I like the weather. um I like I like that it's modern. The city is modern. I don't feel really inconvenienced at all in any way from living here, as opposed to if I were in Miami or someplace else in the States. I can, my life isn't that much different than I guess it would be if I was in the States. Um, you know, I I still have my car, I still drive, I still, do all the things that I would do in the States, but it's just here in Colombia.
Fantastic, brother. Wow. This has been a great interview, brother. Um, how long can you stay on for this interview? I don't want to make sure. How long? Do you have
Uh,
any other?
no, I'm good. I'm good for now. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, brother. So can we pivot it back to um, um, hmm, let me run through my questions here. I think okay. So apart from Medellin, Colombia, what are the other cities in Colombia that brothers can consider moving to, and why? Can you break it down for us, brother? So what cities you've been to, and apart from Medellin, that are good to possibly move there, and what was your experiences there, brother?
Yeah. I would, as far as I would recommend, if for someone who's never been to Colombia before, particularly if they don't speak Spanish, or don't at least have an intermediate level of Spanish, I would recommend, either Bogota, Medellin, or Cartagena. And those are the three biggest cities in the three areas where you can pretty much feel secure without too much issue. so long as you just stick to basic common sense type things. When you start venturing out into other cities like Barranquilla, Cali, it's a little bit different. It's less tourist, and you know, you, I wouldn't recommend somebody going there, first time out, and somebody who, especially if you don't speak the language. Um, but but there, really it just depends on the person, and if you like the beach, then Cartagena is going to be obviously a better choice for you because that's the beach. Cartagena is like I say, Cartagena is a lot like Miami, and Medellin is there's no beach here, but the weather is really nice. It's not like hot and humid like in Cartagena and Miami. It's more it's it's more of a temperate climate. It's better suited for me. And Bogota is just a huge, it's the capital, so it's a big city. You can find pretty much everything there, um, but it's not as touristy as Cartagena and Medellin.
Hold on, brother. Give me one. Oh, it's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
Um, oh yes, fantastic interview so far, brother. Let me just run through a few of my questions here. How good looking are Colombian women in your opinion? Would you say they're absolute stunners, like on average? Because everyone loves speaking about Colombian women. Based on what you've seen, brother, do you feel like they are top five women across the world, and why? And speak about looks and personality as well, brother.
Yeah. Well, Colombian women obviously
You're on mute, brother. You
am
were
I
on
mute?
mute there. Yeah, you must put
Hold on.
yourself on mute by accident. But go on, bro. If you can just state that
Okay.
again, what you said,
All right. Can you hear me now?
loud and clear, brother.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah. So with Colombian women, obviously have a lot of fame, and just deserved. You can clearly see evidence all over social media and online of just how Colombian women are and how they look and everything. So and like I said, it's the if you like the Kardashian look, then you're gonna like Colombia. You're gonna like Medellin. And what was the other question?
Speak about the personalities, Colombian women personalities. What kind of woman would you mean on average? Is it the feminist, independent woman? Is it the feminine woman? Is it the homely, family orientated woman? Based on your 8 years, brother, what have you seen in terms of the personalities, bro?
Um, well, I mean, it's I think you can get a variety of different personalities. It a lot depends on the type of girl that you're dealing with and their upbringing and family dynamic. That obviously contributes a lot. And um, what what was the you had said what was the first part of the question?
The personality types, what you've seen in your 8 years, and in terms of personalities of Colombian women, on average, who are you most likely to meet in terms of personality? Family orientated woman, feminine, or the feminist type woman, or the Western influence type Colombian woman? Speak about your 8 years experience in meeting those kind of women, bro.
Yeah, well, I think feminism um, is all over Western society now. But I don't recall, or I don't yeah, I don't recall ever coming across extremely feminist types where this I hold on, let this racetrack, like I said, welcome to Medellin. I don't recall. I don't recall coming across many of those feminist types that this I can do. I can do all by myself, and I don't need a man, and I'm an independent, and this, that, and the other. I don't. I don't ever really recall encountering that type of attitude here. there, if anything, I think with the culture, women are more primed to look for a man. Is particularly a man who can be a provider, and it's not as, yeah. I don't think you'll find so much of the that independence, that mindset that you find in other places a lot.
Okay, wonderful to hear, brother. So, brother, I think this has been a very good interview. Um, can we now speak about your book? You said you've written a
Yes.
book, and I'd love to know what made you write this book, what the book is, and what you can expect, to find in that book. So break it down for us, brother.
Yeah. So let me show you the book. You can see that's the book is titled Mustang Salvaje: The Art of Impossible, and it's currently available on Amazon, uh, ebook and paperback format. And like I said, the book basically tells a lot of the story that you know, I touched on earlier about how I came to Medellin and ended up in business, and how I ultimately lost that business, and the journey that I had to take to come turn things around and find a new business, a new purpose, and move forward. And I try to give perspective on Colombia, a lot of perspective on business and entrepreneurship as well, and perspective that I've gained over my 8 years here, something that you know you can't really gain in a few months or weeks or even a few years here. It's something that takes time to really learn and understand how things really are and how things really work here. So the book uh, really does a lot of explanation on Colombia, for particularly for those who are maybe interested in coming here, traveling here, or even moving here, living here. It really gives perspective on how things really are and really work here.
Okay, thank you very much for taking part in this interview, Mustang, and thanks for reaching out to me. This has been a great interview. I will definitely seek to get you on my channel again for more interviews. It seems like you've been around the world, and we love to hear your experiences in Russia, Czech Republic, and other countries you've lived in. Thank you very much for this incredible interview, Mustang. We may in the future do another Colombian interview, just to break things down further. But for now, this shall do. Brothers, thank you very much for watching this video. Please support this video by hitting the like button, commenting. Go out there to support the brothers' book if you want to get more
And the rum
information,
as well.
and the rum as well. If you want to get more information regarding Colombia, support the brothers' business ventures, and of course, brothers, please hit the Cash App, to support me as well as to the movement that I put in, the work that I put in to get brothers like Mustang on this channel. So Cash App is here, brothers. Please support the channel for the Cash App. Please super chat. Please support. Hold on, let me put you on mute. Please support the channel for the Cash App brothers, the super chat, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. This has been a very incredible video regarding a brother who has lived in Colombia for 8 years, who can break down how it's like in Colombia. And this has been a fantastic interview. Mustang, big thank you. Unmute yourself, brother. A big thank you for taking part in this interview. Thank you for reaching out to me. We'll definitely seek to get you on. I'll definitely seek to get you on my channel in the future. And thank you.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm always willing to lend my expertise and personal experience. And like I said, anytime I can give perspective on Colombia or other places I've traveled or lived, I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you everyone for watching this interview, and I will see you all on my next video. International passport, Mustang. Once again, thank you. Look after yourself, Mustang and brothers, and I will see you all on my next video. Take it easy. Goodbye. Thank you, brothers.